Jim Ryan has denied that Sony is making any misleading statements to regulators about the Xbox Activision deal. Let's talk about what he said right now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when this content goes live. This story is pretty new. I believe it happened this morning. So let's talk about what Jim Ryan has said. Basically, he is denying that Sony is misleading regulators over Xbox's Activision Blizzard deal. And a lot has transpired this morning. I hope you enjoy this channel where all I seem to be able to talk about is the Activision Blizzard deal, because honestly, that's all that's really going on in the news cycle right now. The saga continues, reads the story. Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan has expressed a few words today as part of a New York Times report concerning Xbox's attempt to acquire Activision Blizzard. He has said that in recent weeks, Microsoft revealed frustration about Sony's exaggerated importance over Call of Duty in relation to the Activision Blizzard deal, but Ryan stated that any suggestion of misleading regulators is not true. I mean, he basically said that he's concerned about Call of Duty exclusivity going away, and he's really... I very much disagree that he's overblowing some of the statements a little bit, because it certainly seems like he is. Here's what he said. Microsoft is a tech giant with a long history of dominating industries. It is highly likely that the choices gamers have today will disappear if this deal goes ahead. You just said... You just said you're not exaggerating the importance of the deal. There's no reason that choices are going to go away, implying that Sony might go away if this deal were to go through. Yeah, but in addition to all this happening, Xbox has actually come back to the table with another deal for Sony, which they have yet to respond about. So 3 years wasn't good enough, the behind closed doors deal that we've mentioned a few times. How about 10 years? Xbox has offered a 10-year deal for Call of Duty. Sony has declined to comment. Microsoft has tried to sweeten the deal, but Sony doesn't want it. Now, the thing is, Xbox can't just come out and say, we will let you have Call of Duty forever. I don't think that's a contract based on what I've heard lawyers say. That's not a contract you can make. You can't just say, forever and ever, we will release Call of Duty on your platform, because we don't know if that platform will exist after a decade and what will happen with the franchise. Like, the franchise is bombing. Maybe PlayStation wouldn't even want it at that point, but there would be this contractual obligation to do it. I don't know the exact reasoning about why you wouldn't make a contract forever, but to me, it seems like a pretty silly idea. Anyway, continuing on. A new report in the New York Times has given us an update on the ensuing drama between Microsoft and regulators over its $69 billion merger with Activision Blizzard. This comes way of Windows Central via Jez Corden. By the way, Microsoft has been battling with regulators on both sides of the Atlantic to land approval for its mega deal for the creators of Call of Duty, Warcraft, Candy Crush, and various other games. And on that note, I have continually talked about how they are sleeping on other properties. That everybody's so focused in on Call of Duty that they have neglected all of the other things that they need to be paying attention to. Microsoft has said that the deal is more about mobile gaming, where Microsoft's footprint is relatively small in an industry dominated by Chinese giants like Tencent. Merging with Activision would give Microsoft the tools it needs to bring Xbox games and developers to a completely new audience on phones and tablets. And for Xbox's sake, they have said that they are trying to get in on the mobile front. And that's, I believe, what one of the avenues they're trying to get a foothold on. But in addition to that, yes, they are trying to bring Call of Duty to Xbox Game Pass, etc. One big opponent of the deal is Sony, who is Microsoft's chief competitor in the console space. While most other publishers have generally said little to decry the deal, rival platform holders like PlayStation and, let's pause this, Like PlayStation and Google have quietly and not so quietly expressed their concern to regulators that Microsoft could end up with too much power in the space should it seek to foreclose games like Call of Duty from their platforms. Now, Sony is still so focused on what is going to happen with their console and Call of Duty that I feel like they're just not paying attention to like what World of Warcraft would offer the Xbox audience if that were to come to the Xbox platform, or say like if Diablo became Xbox exclusive. Now, I don't know if Xbox is going to do that, but the fact that none of those other properties are mentioned and all the focus has been on Call of Duty, I feel like Sony's like, I've said this many times, I feel like Sony's missing the point of the deal in that there's all the mobile games, there's Call of Duty Mobile, there's all of these other things happening within the deal, and they're just so focused on Call of Duty, which even if they lost all the revenue from Call of Duty, they would still be number one in the market versus Xbox. So it's a really strange strategy, in my opinion. Now, a new report has suggested that Microsoft has conceded not 3, but now 10 years of Call of Duty access. Microsoft's gaming CEO, Phil Spencer, has been conducting various interviews to emphasize that there's no plan to remove or degrade Call of Duty on PlayStation, despite Sony's claim to the contrary. Sony declined to comment on the 10-year licensing deal report while claiming that Microsoft has a history of dominating industries, while claiming gamers' choices will disappear, without explaining exactly what choices they're referring to. What choices are you talking about, Sony? Are you talking about having exclusive skins, having exclusive betas on PlayStation? Yeah, that would probably disappear. And that's the kind of thing that you are actually trying to say, well, we don't want Xbox to do that again. They did that during the 360 era. We don't want to go back to that. We want to go back to being the premier platform for Call of Duty. I don't think there's any world where that continues unless this deal falls apart and you piecemeal purchase Call of Duty. I just don't think that's a future or a reality that's going to happen for Sony. And I think that Sony's hamming it up a little bit. Jez seems to agree. Analytically, I've written before how Sony knows it won't lose access to the Call of Duty license, given that the game's business model entirely depends on being available literally anywhere and everywhere. Sony is more concerned about losing a bargaining chip and value proposition, since Call of Duty and Xbox Game Pass for $10 a month absolutely trounces the $70 you have to pay to get the game on PlayStation right now. That's exactly what they're doing. Right now, they need to seem like they're super vulnerable, even though they just released a Game of the Year contender with God of War Ragnarok. They have plenty of other games that seem to have all the makings of being fantastic games and franchises going forward. So this idea that they're vulnerable if Call of Duty goes away, I just don't buy it. They've had a different strategy. They've gone with different ways of releasing their games. They have these like amazing experiences on their platform in terms of the games that they release that they've decided to charge their customers $70 for. They've decided to raise the price of their consoles in other territories, all while painting this picture that they're super vulnerable. I just don't buy it. You know, when you release games on your subscription service and they do tremendously well, but then you say, oh, it can never be successful, even though your own data shows that a game like Stray launching day one on PlayStation Plus Extra has driven subscribers to that platform. And the game ended up selling well and performing well. So things like that are happening, and you just turn a blind eye to it because I think it's easier for them to pretend to be weak and try and get this deal canceled than actually come up with competitive strategies. So they're playing the game, they're hamming it up, and now they have a 10-year deal on the table that they're saying probably no to. I don't think Sony's going to go away. I don't think there's other competitors that would be negatively impacted by this deal besides Sony, who is acting like it would be the end of the world. I do not think that is the case. I think, in my opinion, Xbox has made it clear, especially Phil Spencer, that at least Call of Duty will remain multi-platform. Some of the other franchises like Diablo might be weird to suddenly go Xbox only, but time will tell on those fronts. So anyway, that's what's going on in the Call of Duty Activision world today. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell to know when my content goes live. I appreciate it. I also appreciate all the comments about how I need a skincare regimen. So if you have a recommendation, yes, I have rough skin some days. Sorry to bring it up, but thank you for watching, and thank you to all the members for supporting I greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to become a member, click that join button right down there. I created a Hive account because it was trending on Twitter. So if you have Hive, at Destin Legary is where I will be posting everything. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you want to see the previous video about this merger, or how about this? If you want to see about Activision canceling World of Warcraft and tons of accounts being wiped out, check out my Sunday video right there. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. Bye for now.